Sanitizer. Guys. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. A voice ari uye ari pere. Voice raramba kuuya. Voice raramba kuuya. Kuti tikurukure naye, but the hoarseness of the voice doesn't matter anyway. What we are going to discuss today, someone requested this topic that I should look into the mess created in Harare. Who is responsible for creating this mess? Is Harare City Council responsible, or it is the central government, or it is the government that is responsible for the mess that we all witnessed in Zimbabwe? So, before I delve into that topic, I want people to, comrade Adede Julie Ziri say, Mkoma Victor, Munot Farere, Kenzo, Anz boss you the masquera and the square monoma, was really in Fatso. Mkoma Solo Sandanga Zuri say Johnso Mukudzei Ndaswera. Felix Mankolo, how are you? Apo Madim Dara Ndaganaka Monomai Madi Zagaz Zurudine Mkoma Zax Anzi Roy une Chunuchang Gogo Vanata Zuri say Don Nyakujga Mkuma Manu Nyakonda, welcome Gogo. Vanata, welcome Gogo. How are you? Poshi home girl Zuru Tapira Reawe 8 UK time. Anze brave ejikwenere tapinda mapinda mkoma grave penis nyabasa Zuri say Pachando Parnani Drukuzia gas Emmanuel Ngoma Manu Zuri say ED Anzi ED is a video exposing the sabotage, which is true. Zanu PF government. Mdara Zuri say Ndaganaka Clayton Zukfambare Shane Ando Tumira Maremonere Mukoma Mugazire Pauro Pacho Amenel Paruda say nae apa mwendo COVID kana ziri COVID kanonzikachi kaka vaccine kasho wamwaita nzikano tautuve amenanzi pambedha chichi ameno Roy zviri sei I'm still waiting for your address akoma. Thank you Roy. Grace zviri kufamba here Jimmy zviri kudini shanzi bo hangu ndafara network bonus. Thanks Collins Omoyo Gukwa zviri sei Rosie zviri kufamba here mushonga Rufaro Jaricha JJ Collins Rosie mushonga asi ndimai guru vangu ira kwa mushonga wabaraini zviri kudini fatso zviri kufamba here Kelas Thomas, how are you? I'm well. As Donald Nyakudya, why did you block me? Noma Shapiro mkoma wangu ndeipi maswera boy Nash, I'm well. Gogo zviri sei Gogo Hans Varashik our they wish to cut your tongue. Good job. Thank you so much. The central government is not allocating any funds to local government, which is run by MDC councillors. We are going to look into that. Thank you so much. Mkoma Givi, Ziruk Fambaire, Anzam Dara Shapiro Maswera, Monama, and Daswera Mkoma Grey, Zirudin, Apple, Brighton Impala, Ziri say. So, the figures are fluctuating, guys. I can't wait for people. They will join us. They know we start at 8 o'clock. Now it's 8:10, waiting for the numbers to swell. The topic sounds very interesting, General. Tanaga, thank you so much. In the blood scales, I'm Bo. Suzeni Mukudu. Tatsikwa ne province. Get down into business. We can't wait for people who come late. The problem is so. First of all, at the floor, Zuri say, Master Zere, Zuri at the floor, Mukoma Morise, Ndagan Simba, video, Chirung. I'm going to play the video so that people see what Mukoma Emmanuel Nyakonda is trying to tell us. Because people want to know who is responsible for this rot that we see. We see sewage flowing everywhere. The new dispensation is flowing on sewage. Where Mr. Gore say you the greetings, how are you? Farai Maruzan Ziruk Famba. I'm glad, guys. Yesterday I received a call from one of the most respected people in Zimbabwe. I'm not going to say names, but I received a call. As Mkoma Yuda Murise Collins and 𝗥𝗲𝗰𝗹 Shapiro, thank you so much. Robasa Manamai Shapiro Pisa. Anzuruku pisa unge moto emeni. Azi varakashano ngoida ubviswe rurimi naye mukoma vere zvirise like teliwe ngena anzi mukoma yuda agreement agi zviri kutapira here pakaipa Evans Mtomba zviri kudini. Yesterday, guys, Cecilia Mukudu, yesterday I received a call from a very important person. Zakataura Shepherd ndaishaya number yako. All along I was looking for your number. Leo Jones, and I have a dream of a united Zimbabwe one day. Thank you so much. So I received a very important call yesterday. I spent almost an hour on that phone. I was talking to one of the generals who participated in the Congo DRC war, who participated, a veteran of many battles. So I received that phone call yesterday. Azna Nomara, Dara Shapiro Muse, salute you, General, keep it up. Thank you so much. Anzi Jupere and Annette, I love Shepherd Yuda. Hey, thanks, Mkoma Faso, Ndapinda Mkoma Shapiro, Saturday Cecilia, and Gashapire Nai. So I want to encourage people here that our participation is being noted by Zimbabwe government. And we have got people in the military, people who are listening to us on daily basis. And I received a call from one of our generals in Zimbabwe. Our general, he gave me a lot of mistakes that I made in my previous videos. He corrected me, said you might need to correct the mistakes, but they are immaterial at the moment because we are looking into a new Zimbabwe. We're looking forward to a new Zimbabwe. So the mistakes that I made on the videos, first of all, he noted a mistake that I made when I was talking about 𝗟𝗏𝗃 helicopter. Could I roveke an AK? But Zakasondicorrect no Shapiro. Naka driver ma 𝗟𝗏𝗃 and Nakamarova. Ane certain areas that even if you fire randomly, Kafraka Nukacheka 𝗟𝗏𝗃 𝗟𝗏𝗃, you know, Zekadona. So quite a lot for corrections which were made, which I appreciated, as I've even stated that I've got no much knowledge about the technicalities of the Zimbabwe National Army. Anchenjerai kutapwa muromo na general ivavo. No. Of course, apana chatichachka mkoma Chris. It's like we jumped from the frying pan into fire. So whatever he was saying, I bought the ideas because he was focusing much on what Zimbabweans are capable of doing. So it was an interesting discussion with that general, and I saluted him at the end. Because in fact, I knew as I go live on Facebook, the Zimbabwe government intelligence, Zimbabwe government defense forces, they TVs umberere vakagara vane mapeni vachitora manotes. Akantaura zvikanzi somebody called him akati wanzwa here zvataurwa naYuda today. Zvikanzi Yuda anga achiti chii, zvikanzi anga achitaura nyaya yekubatana yekuti isu semaZimbabweans, let's put political affiliations aside and confront the regional problem as it came to us because we are the people who are responsible to fight the jihadists. So a lot of insights, he gave me a lot of insights. He made me see things that I never saw. Akandara kati unoziva here shepherd ukaenda kuLubumbashi ukune makuva emaZimbabweans, thousands and thousands of Zimbabwe National Army soldiers who died there. They never found their bodies never found their way back. Some they were just buried there. You understand? No one in Zimbabwe is missing in action. So a lot of things happened in DRC. A lot of things happened. Bad things happened in Congo. And Zagandipa an insight into exactly what the war was like in DRC. I appreciated that because he is a veteran of many battles. So I'm not going to disclose the name. It's confidential because I need to keep on discussing Nevakuru since what Zurukufamba say, what are they planning for Zimbabweans? Because the army has now become the enemy of the people of Zimbabwe, which he agreed when I said it. Pakaipa as general iva vakakudza kuti tine hama dzakapona kuCongo asi dzadzoka vaifa zvisina netsarukano. He said everything. He said something like that. Kuti vamwe vacho vaibatwa nezvirwere zvisingazikanwa vachifa, vamwe vadzoka, vamwe they were captured nemarebels, vakakeptwa nemarebels, some of them were beheaded. Hanzi taito tikafamba taitoona misoro yaitojuja ropa kuratidza kuti kwatiri kuenda kwakuna kumira zvakanaka, yakabairirwa pazvimiti. So kwatarisa musoro wacho tonyasona muzimba musoja muzimba andiriona. So a lot of things were said which I'm not disclosing, but tiringotaura edu kuti hanzi network yangu tezvara iri kudambuka dambuka. Ameno Jola gadzirisa anditi maona. A lot I discussed, a lot. He gave me insight into what a war is like. And I know that the General Yuda, Jones, don't worry about his name, but he called from Zimbabwe with a Zimbabwe number. So I'm not going to disclose that general I spoke to. Let's quickly get down into business. Before I start this nyaya, there is a video that Emmerson Mnangagwa was talking about how the government and the council work together. So I need to play that video. I don't know what's happening. Could be my... Yes. So this is the Zimbabwe government, the Zimbabwe president. I'm going to play this video so that people can see it. I've posted this video on my wall. Sorry guys, this video is on my wall, so I'm going to play it on once we see because this topic was requested. Right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, now, no president of Zimbabwe. So this topic has been requested by someone who said we should look into it. Is it the city council or is the government that has caused what we see today? Let me show you what has been caused by the government. This is not city council. As you have heard the president of Zimbabwe saying council MDC. So this is what we get at the end. 𝗥𝗲𝗀𝗟𝗪 imvura sewage pagedha munatesa zvidhina kuti akwanise kubuda mumba make afambe handiri muri kuzviona. You can see this. itsvina guys, dhodhi chairo chairo. Idhodhi chairo chairo ramuri kuona. It's sewage padoo pagedhi pemunhu. It's sewage. This is Harare. Once if you look at that, this is Harare, guys. This is Harare. Madhodha muri kuona ari muHarare. Madhodha muri kuona ari muHarare aya. Matuzva muri kuona ari muHarare. So it's you guys, it's for you to judge, because someone requested this topic to say, is it the government or the council which is responsible for this mess? The road that we see in Harare, who caused this road? So I am going to look into some issues that can help you understand this problem. Madhodha maona aya ari kuflowa muHarare. So I've learned that if your problems is non-Zanu PF Zimbabwe, you won't get any help. This is what Emmerson Mnangagwa has said in this video. He said, if you are not Zanu PF, forget about getting help. You don't get help in Zimbabwe as long as you are not Zanu PF. So it's like Zanu PF, because they rig election, they say we have won, they imposed themselves onto the people of Zimbabwe. So what do? When they lose the local elections, then they sabotage the councillors, so that the councillors have got no power. They don't have budget, they don't do anything. Even if they try to run the cities, they cannot run the cities, because we don't accept zvichemo councils MDC. Surprisingly, vamunangagwa vanogara muHarare, vane dzimba muHarare. But this amount or this intensity of sabotage should never be witnessed in the 21st century. So if you look at some years back, I was even a resident in Harare myself, and I think this is to break the people's... Yes, what they are trying to do is force the people of Harare not to vote MDC. This is what they are trying to do. So this is why these guys preach one-party state, because all this sabotage you see today on councils is to try and force or disable the council so that they won't function properly. I was once a resident in Harare, and you guys, most of you are residents in Harare, and you guys, you pay tax in Harare. And I was once fascinated by the seat, how the seat operates some times ago. If you look at the fascination increased with the taking over of the political of the council. I was fascinated when even MDC took over control of these city councils. It's like there is a political arm behind the councillors. This is why you see even wana 𝗥𝗲𝗀𝗪𝗋, they were busy councillors interfering in councillors. July Moyo, the local minister, interfering in the operations of a council. So this is why we are saying it's not the council, but it's the government that has caused all this suffering, all the flowing of sewage in our country, because they want to try to disable the council's operations through a political arm extended by the government. If you see the newly, MDC is a newly, or it was by then a newly political part, formed political part that was official position, that was official opposition political party in our country. MDC, when it came into the political arena, it became an official political party in our country. This created a situation where the national ruling part, or Zanu PF part, was now the opposition. If you look at how MDC won the local government, it made Zanu PF an opposition party in the cities. All the cities, Zanu PF has got no upper hand. So it is like Zanu PF is the opposition party in the cities. That fascinated every Zimbabwean. It also fascinated me, and it is still fascinating me, that despite all this sabotage that the people of Zimbabwe suffered under Zanu PF political arm, they have never voted it. They have never voted it. And this must fascinate you as well, as we see that this created a situation whereby the national ruling was now the opposition political party in all cities of our country, particularly if you look in Harare. In the process of being fascinated by this situation, we guys, or you and me, we see ourselves as stakeholders. We've got questions that needs answers. These are some of the questions that I've put across to you guys to say, look, these questions, they need answers. They need answers. Who is responsible for the rot or the mess in our country? So if you look at the agonizing situation that the residents are finding themselves in today, they pay rent, they pay levies, or they pay charges to the city council every month or on monthly basis. Residents of Harare, they pay something. Asaka zvinoreva kuti opposition ikaita take over miracle dream, the opposition has to have stronger and tougher laws kuti vagare pachigaruka. I don't know, but it is the political environment that was created by Zanu PF in our country, in Zimbabwe. So if you look at the situation that you guys pay rent or pay levies or charges to city council, there are quite a lot of questions that you end up asking yourself. Is there any reason why we should have institutions such as City of Harare when they are failing to perform its basic functions? Because we've got a lot of questions. People are asking themselves, any need of a City of Harare institution where people pay levies, where people pay monies, do we need to have that council? Not councillors. Let's stop talking about councillors, because these are elected individuals who are elected to serve their wards. But we mean the whole institution, like City of Harare, where you guys, you pay your levies, you pay charges, you want service delivery done, but when that service delivery done, you start not done, as I've shown you, or being sabotaged by the central government itself. I've shown you the video where Emmerson Mnangagwa was talking about sabotaging the councils. So do we need, what's the need of this seat of Harare? Do we need a seat of Harare? Do we definitely need it, a seat of Harare? It's failing to perform its basic functions. So do we need such an institution? Even if you get if you get hold of those people, the people who work in that institutions, they are clueless. They don't know where the money is going. People collect every month, levies, fees, and everything every month. Where is the money going? These are the questions that people need answers. These are the people, because when you pay for a service delivery, that service should be performed in return. If there is no service, then the people of Harare are bound to ask the city council, where are the services? The city authorities must be able to be answering all these questions. If you fail to pay something, these guys, they come, they descend on you. And if you pay, but they are not giving you the services, where is the money going? Where is the money going? These are the questions, the fundamental issues that needs to be answered. So if you look at today's focus, we are going to focus much on who is responsible for the rot we see in Harare. Is it the city council or is it the government? Is it the city council or is it the government? I've started this presentation by showing you a video from President of Zimbabwe, who was telling you that even if you vote MDC councillors, 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗶 𝗪𝗔𝘃𝗲𝗍𝗏 because avasi ndo vari kutonga. Saka they disregard those councillors. And we need to be honest with this topic. It's affecting our lives. We should ask such honest questions irrespective of political divide. Yes. Because if you look at the sewage that is flowing in Harare, it is affecting Zanu PF people. It is affecting MDC people. But the council is being sabotaged by a Zanu PF political party, by a Zanu PF president. So, who is responsible here? We need council to manage the seat, otherwise there will be chaos. Already there is chaos. There's chaos already. So, who is responsible? The mayor of Harare has been arrested, has been put in prison. This is not the first time. MDC had 𝗥𝗲𝗰𝗹, who was mayor of Harare. Zanu PF interfered with her and she deserted. She went to Zanu PF. We had other mayors who followed after Zanu PF removed the executive mayorship and just put this mayor that we call like place holder has cinema executive powers which Zanu PF mayors held before MDC came into effect. So when they saw that they are losing Matauni ese, vakabva vabvisa this clause of executive mayors. Kwakutangosara nemaceremonial mayors. People who cannot make decision. People who has to consult the central government for any decision that has to be made. Makanzwa Jacob achitaura achiti kuti utenge matishu office ya mayor, you need the president's approval. So the whole council is approved by the president. The budget of the council has to be approved by the president. Everything that the council does, it has to be approved by the president. And that same president is the one who have just heard here saying akuna kunenda zvichemo zve council. You understand? Shapiro, please don't call that sick man president. As the boss, do you think we can get answers from thugs? That's why Vagata recalled. They recalled even my councillors. They were recalled. They found a willing tool in Douglas Monzor to disable the functions of the council. This is why you see the council is grounded. The council cannot function without these people who are supposed to be making decisions. So those people were recalled. And those who remain there are scared because they have to be answerable to a government. And the Harare City Council now is just being dismantled by Douglas Monzora at will. Whoever doesn't dance to his tune is recalled. So it means we don't have capacity. The council does not have capacity to make decisions at the moment. This is why you see the likes of �Zanu PF activists, Agarasana Obet Gutu, were calling for a commission to run the city council. And at the moment in Zimbabwe, we are being ruled by sewage government. Definitely, we don't have a government. This exactly shows that Zimbabwe does not have a government. So there is difference here, ladies and gentlemen. Political parties controlling the two tiers of the state. There is MDC controlling councils, and there's Zanu PF controlling the government. So these are two tiers of the society here. One is leading a situation where there's unshared vision, and the other one is leading a situation where ideology, policy, and practice are expected to be implemented. If you look at the councillors, the people of Harare, the people of Zimbabwe, they demand that MDC as a political party, it must show its ideology, it must show its policies, it must exercise these things, put them into practical purpose, which government is saying they cannot do that without our approval. So anything that the council does needs a government approval. And who is government? Government is Zanu PF. This is why you see they appointed July Moyo. Last time, Tatana 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗪𝗏, Tatana 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗪𝗏. If you look at their history, these local government ministers, they all interfered with the operations of council since 2000. And these are the culprits responsible or answerable or should be accountable to the people of Zimbabwe. To say, look, when you were government official, we elected the people we thought gonna make decisions on our behalf, and you were busy plucking them out of the council, interfering with the functions of the council. So who is responsible here? Is it MDC or it's Zanu PF? Has Zanu PF found willing tools in Monzora? Definitely listen and learn. It is a willing tool. This is why you see he's dismantling the council, the parliament, disabling everything that will make Zimbabwe function for 5 years. The people of Zimbabwe have chosen people they are confident with that they are going to represent them. But Monzora, in his personal capacity, collaborating with the Zanu PF, they have disabled the functions of the parliament. They have disabled the functions of the councils. If you look at what they are now saying, Monzora has been saying that the Patriotic Bill should be put now in, so that it can be signed. This is why they agreed. The current members of parliament who are there, who have never been elected, or some of the senators who were never elected by the people. These people, they have signed, they've given Mnangagwa extra powers to appoint the Concord judges, you understand? Or the judge, the chief justice to replace this 𝗟𝗏𝗪𝗹. So these are the things that the people of Zimbabwe refused in the constitution. In the 2013 constitution, the people of Zimbabwe, they said no. But the willing tools in parliament today, the willing tools such as Douglas Monzora, Zanu PF, who were never elected, are giving Mnangagwa extra powers to do things that are unconstitutional. So the same willing tools have claimed that they are the owners of the council, and they have disabled the functions of the council. Now the council cannot do anything because the elected people to do the job, they are no longer there. Some of them were arrested, some of them were recalled, and you understand? So it means the willing to in Zanu PF, the willing to in opposition are responsible for what we are witnessing today. The road that is in Harare, the sewage flowing all over, the rubbish not collected. And ukapinda muHarare ukaona vanhu vakupfeka mamasks. It's not about COVID in Harare now. It's about the stench that that bad smell. Harare stinks. Harare stinks. ladies and gentlemen. Harare is stinking. The whole of Harare is stinking. So everything we have noted here is the lack of what we call decentralization of powers. Because instead of government decentralize powers and give councils powers to do their job, the government is still controlling. They never decentralize those powers. They are still controlling the functions of all the councils. So that becomes useless for people of Zimbabwe to say we are electing councillors, because those councillors are serving no purpose. Anyone can recall them at will. So this is what we have in Zimbabwe, ladies and gentlemen. All the urban local authorities, they've been disabled by Douglas Monzora, have been disabled by Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, and the results are the flowing of raw sewage across the whole of Harare. Pakabona ya mvura pakamboitika mafloods dhodhi rakambotakurwa rikaenda. But ezvinezvi hey zvakaoma muHarare wakomana. Vanhu vese vari muHarare vari kuchema. And Atete Flo, thank you for reminding this. Ian Smith said, if we let black people run their affairs, then it means the whole Harare or the whole Zimbabwe, there will be sewage flowing everywhere. Some people were saying Smith never did that, blacks, although they criticized and fought him. So it means whatever Ian Smith prophesied years back, we are witnessing everything that Smith has said. That these guys, these black people, this black skin has got no capacity to run their lives. They need white skin so that they can follow. We lead whilst they follow. As far as you know, MDC vanere kugadzirira kwavakaita kuti vasabirirwa 2023. I'm not sure Mkoma wise men. We have to hear it from those in office, because those guys were elected to strategize, to make sure that even if election 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗍 2023 hadifane kubirwa. So they are yet to come with their policies, but yamakanzwa yakanzi 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗲 yamusaidherera citizen for convergence, and they claim they own even our wives. And it 𝗥𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗲𝗿𝗆. Politicians, you cannot be reckless to that extent of telling the world that even wakadzi wako ndevangu. I was spying on Chamisa all along. Now, you were spying on Chamisa all along. You have destroyed the council. Mudzuri, you have destroyed the council. Komich, you have destroyed the council. Monzora, you have destroyed the council. These guys, they don't behave as if they need to be voted again in 2023. It's like they don't see themselves living beyond 2023. They forget that we've got 2023, we've got elections coming, not far from now. And the way they have gone against the will or the wishes of the people is so surprising. The magnitude of their stupidity is so shocking. They already forgotten that 2023 they need to come to the people and campaign to say, look, in the voter. Then how are Zimbabweans going to decide to vote Mnangagwa Monzora, who disable a parliament for 5 years, so that Zanu PF can continue the damn looters continue to loot? You are facilitating damn looters to continue to loot. How are Zimbabweans going to vote you? How are Zimbabweans going to vote you? When you have got, you stand there and say, beat it out, you're out. Then you look for a friend and relative, say, come in, let's enjoy the parliament. No democracy at all. Then you call yourself a Democrat. Do you understand? Hi brother, what about our name MDC Alliance? Monzora knows that there is a party known as MDC Alliance, which those MPs who were recalled joined. So the name the MDC Alliance exists Monzora knows it exists. This is why he recalled certain members of parliament from parliament saying they have rejoined a different political party known as MDC Alliance. Those recall letters, people have them. So don't worry about that. They know there is a name, a political party known as MDC Alliance. They know that. And they have not forgotten, Baba, it's dead man leading them. But they need people to vote them. It's about a year to come now. It's almost a year now left. 2022 is the only year left. 2023, Nana June, after my elections. So it's only 1 year left for them to come back to you people and they say, look, we want to be voted. They have to bring whatever performance they did from 2018 elections. They have to come and tell you, look, when we were elected, we did this, we did that, we did that. And I disagree with the Smith. That's ideology. What Smith did is what we are witnessing. You are a traitor. You betrayed your oath in 𝗟𝗏𝗀. I was never paid. It's very unfortunate, Leslie. I got nothing out of that. I was never paid and I never did it for money. It's it's on record. It's known on record. And I can't be a traitor when my vote is being stolen. Zanu PF was stealing my vote. To prison, I'm supposed to have gone to a polling booth to go and vote nicely without someone influencing my vote. That was my democratic right to vote, part of my choice. So unfortunately, I was never allowed. I was being coerced, intimidated. So I took a camera and showed the world that don't be fooled by Mugabe. This is not an election. People are not voting freely. There is no democracy in this country. So that is not selling out. That is never selling out. But my vote was being stolen by Zanu PF. So when we look into this, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a problem that if the political party, since Zanu PF is a political party since independence, and the nature of their political contestation between the ruling party and opposition political parties, it lacks civility. This is something that is being typed here. This guy who is typing here, he lacks civility. This has been lacking in Zanu PF. People of Zanu PF, they lack civilization. They don't know what civility is. So they lack civilization. Most 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗏 and 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃 are not civilized enough to understand their democratic right. To say, look, you have got right to vote. You have got right to life. They don't understand that. You see, so they lack civility. And if you look at every election that is run by Zanu PF, that election is marked by polarity and violence. To the extent that if you look at them, the violence that these Zanu PF goons initiate to the people of Zimbabwe, it lacks civility. They are uncivilized. They are like primates. They are like animals. Goring one another. Mjango, you find Zimbabwe is like a jungle where there's no laws, where there is no rule of law. There is no rule of law. A lot of violence in Zimbabwe in every election perpetrated by Zimbabweans, by Zanu PF people. That shows lack of civility. They are not civilized. Zanu PF people are like primates. They are not civilized at all. You understand? So there is, if you look at them, they campaign, their campaign, if they look at opposition political party, they don't look at them as competitors. They look at them as enemies. This is what has resulted in the local state of things that we witness today. This is what we witness today. But if you look at a city of Harare, the city of Harare, like most cities, has a history of colonialization. Urban and rural areas in Zimbabwe during the colonial era, they were characterized by racial segregation. If you look at them, they were characterized by this racial segregation. In the case of city of Harare, since colonial settlers set up urban areas in 1899, when these white people set up urban areas, there was a racially based form of decentralization within voting, even in local government elections reserved for British. They were like British males with the black majority. So it's like they were British people, the whites and the black majority. So there was this decentralization which was there. You couldn't vote for a white man. You were always to cause diversion, please. I'm not focusing on that. I'm continuing. It's very unfortunate because Zanu PF knows the impact of this video. So this is why they try to flock here to try and destabilize. So I'm not going to focus on that. I'm so sorry. Let me continue with this. This presentation gonna be long, so I have to be a bit fasty and in presenting it. So during the course of the colonial period, local government voting was later changed and was based on property ownership, and immediately differentialized blacks who were allowed to own properties in the cities. The blacks, most black people were not allowed to own property in the cities. Saka urikuona kuti government yevarungu yakazopesera yakuti chinzwa yakomana isusu takuvota in terms of what do you have, une mari here, une maproperties here, une chi. That was meant kuti mablacks akanga asina chaanacho vasavote. So during that time, cities during the colonial period were regarded as white areas. Cities, they were regarded as white areas. Anziko miraito kana achituka tinomvisa, asi kana achida kudzidza tinomusiya. Hana kana plan, please come and lead MDC uone pa politics uri mwana. Hana basa serena. I thought ari kutuka. Inini I just block munhu anotuka. Kwete munhu anosuggesta. Murege adzidze. Because kuvepo kwake, that means this video don't show even my friends ake, my relatives ake. I didn't want my relatives ake, my friends ake. Saka murege anyasorwadzwa rega itimbotaura. Don't pay attention to him. Boss mukampindura, it's like murukumpa attention. And anonoga kuya and this for Wi-Fi. Don't worry, I'm on. So don't give him attention. Don't give him attention. Because you are being distracted now. You are commenting on things that are irrelevant. Saka imimi don't comment. Adidiga musiye anyore rega banokotaka kutuka tomusa kublock view. But as long as achingotaura zvarutaura zvazvina basa, don't answer him, don't write on him. Don't answer him, don't write on him. Just let him write zvaari kunyora. Mukamupindura muri kumpa attention. Saka mukampa attention, he will distract you from whatever I am going to say here. You understand? So don't give him attention. Don't answer to whatever he's writing. So whatever you should be concentrating on the facts that I'm putting forward here. These are the facts that we have. As I'm blocking him. Don't give him attention. So let's go. Let's carry on, guys, and see. So you see, cities during the colonial period were regarded as white areas. Blacks were not allowed to own properties and were regarded as temporal residents of the city. This is why you see kwaivakwa ma-core houses during that time. Uchitiwa kana wauya waiwana core house kumabvuku, kana nguva yekurima yakwana mablacks aidzokera kumusha utobuda mumba. Paunodzoka hauchadzoki pamba pawaigara, wakunopuwa imwe, uchienda uchinopuwa imwe, uchienda uchinopuwa imwe. So blacks in Zimbabwe, they were regarded as blacks in Zimbabwe, they were regarded as temporal citizens or as temporal residents in those cities. They were not allowed to own property. So most townships in urban areas were governed by boards, which were composed of coloreds, whites, and Asians who were elected as representatives of black people. So as a result, local government institutions in Zimbabwe did not enjoy autonomy to pursue local interests, but the interests of other racial groups. In the rural areas, black communal farming areas or reserves were separated from white farming areas. Resources were mainly channeled towards the development of white areas, creating a disparity between the councils. What the colonial era did to cities and rural areas in Zimbabwe was to divide these areas according to racial lines. At independence, the new government inherited this inequality. The new government at independence, the Zanu PF government at independence, they inherited this inequality, and it was converted from racial division to economic division. If you look at what is Harare today, 90% of Zanu PF dam looters, they don't live in locations. They live in low density suburbs. So they changed. During the Smith regime, blacks were not allowed to own properties. So you were not going to buy a house 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. But when things changed, these guys, they removed this racial division. And what they replaced the racial division with, it was like the economic division, whereby the majority of the affluent citizens now concentrated in formerly white areas. Kwaigara varungu, kudhara ndokwagara vanachiwenga, vachivaka mansions and mansions, vachigara kwaigara varungu kudhara. Extremely important lesson to you all youngsters, very important. So this is what happened now. Things changed. Zanu PF government, instead of looking at the racial segregation, they are looking at an economic segregation. The areas where whites used to live, mines are mpinde muna First Street, mines are mtenge dzimba mugare 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Saka now, today, if I ask you guys that, how many of you varukwanisa kuenda ku TV sales and higher muna First Street kunotenga TV cash? You can't. But so as a result, you cannot go kuna First Street kana data shopping yako. Wakuenda kuna mbuya nanda kuma India. Ndoko wakuenda kunotenga. Saka auchakwanisa kuenda muna First Street kunotenga. Kana wakuenda muna First Street iseda kunokumbira mari, kuna vanhu varikufura neroad. So as a result, the same system that was being used by the whites, that you cannot walk in First Street, is the same system that Zanu PF is using today. Even if you walk in First Street, you are not going to buy anything. My shops and a house of Kumali, Uganda, trousers, it costs about $150 US dollars. Musoja, Mugadjere Mpurisa, Askuora Mariyoyo. Arkuora $60 per mwezi. Trousers, my house of Kumali, $160. So you can't afford it. You can't 2 years, which bought the trousers one. You understand? So, kana mamska pinde muna First Street ngwadzi varungu amuchakwanisi kupinda muna First Street now because hapana pauchaenda ku TV sales and haya uchinotenga TV $1,200 US dollars cash iwo chihora $60. You can't afford it. You can't afford that. So it's no longer a racial division, but it's an economic decision where majority of you guys can't afford to buy things muna First Street. As a result, you guys are concentrated. Kuna nambuya nanda kuma India, kuma China, kuna nabamba zonge. Kuna shopiri muna Robert Mugabere anchazivi inozibamba zonge. Kana kuna Robson Manyika inozibamba zonge iyai. Ndiko kuenda ma blacks kunotenga. You can't go kuna First Street. Tikakuona uchifamba muna First Street totorwa nehana. Kuti wao unaka na boots kugumbo. Wakasunga tayo wasana boots. Unaenda kuna First Street unotenga chi boots iriko ita $500 US dollars. Iwewe pay yako is just $60 a month. Urukunowana mari yekutenga ikoko. Saka you find it one kuna wachinofamba wachitenga ikoko. Vava vanhu ma black bourgeoisie, those people of the affluent citizens of a country who are now concentrated in areas like wana 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, wana Greystone, kupi koko Harare. Varugara ikoko vanhu vane mari dzavo now. They are the only people who can afford to go there. And they've separated themselves like what whites did. That could we end up borrow don't think you can't afford. Sakunonogara mbava, kunonogara vanhu vane mari, kwaigara vanhu vachena. So there is now an economic division rather than racial division. And nofunga wanwarupanzwisisa. So soon after independence in 1980, the central government of Zimbabwe, led by African National Patriotic Front, Zanu PF, it abolished the two racial tiers and the local government decentralization. Local government legislation, which was enacted by the independence, separated the urban councils from rural councils. I think when Muchuru Zapashaka separated, could wainzi Mukaroi Karoi Council, but it was separated from the Karoi Town Council, no the Karoi Rural Council, Urungwe Rural Council, and the Karoi Town Council. So they separated that. Kwanema rural councils, kwanema town councils. Local government voting was changed to remove racial segregation, but voting in cities was still qualified on ownership of properties in the urban areas. Even today, I know people don't understand it. This is still there today. Could you vote muharare? Vanokutara uyane tsamba, uyane biru, uyane chi muharare. Ndo zvaitwa naIan Smith izvozvo hazvina kuchinja. Zvekuti kana uchida kuvhota muharare, vanoda kuona kuti ndiwani, unogara papi, une tsamba here magetsi, une tsamba here ine zita rako. That never changed. It is still there in Harare. That was done by Ian Smith kudhara. Ndo zviri kuitwa nanhasi muHarare. That to vote in cities, voting in cities is qualified by ownership of properties. If you don't own properties, you don't vote. And that was Ian Smith's idea, and the idea is still there. And that idea has disenfranchised the majority of black urban residents who do not own properties. Saka most one waripo kana uri roja iwe wakunzi tinyorere tsamba. Even in UK that's required proof of residence. Yes, it's required proof of residence here. And in UK they give you houses. In Zimbabwe they don't give you houses. UK the council give you houses. They make sure everybody has got a property where he has got an address. You have got a postcode. In Zimbabwe, we don't have that. So a lot of black people are disenfranchised in our country. They are not voting. And that is the system which was being created by Ian Smith. And that is the system which is still there in Zimbabwe. So if you look at local government elections in Zimbabwe, they removed certain provisions that voters were supposed to own property. I think by now they must remove that. You must own property. Because it seems that immediately after Zanu PF council, after Zanu PF was more preoccupied with the consolidating central state political power and the slow pace of reform in local government. So if you look at the reform that we witness in local government, it is going at a slow pace. This is clear. A fact that Zanu PF government never had a clear pronounced policy on local government. This is what is causing the problems that we are seeing today. This was worsened especially by the 𝗟𝗃s. If you look at in Zimbabwe government itself, kuma 1990 vakazopinda mnana 𝗟𝗃. Vapinda mnana 𝗟𝗃 yaida kuvataurira kuti yanga ine responsibilities awo, yanga ine powers and influence on local governance in return of funding. Kuti local governance aifana kuzoita sei pa 𝗟𝗃 kuti vazokwanisa kupiwa mari. And murikuona, before the introduction of 𝗟𝗃 in Zimbabwe, local government was highly centralized to the extent that all the funding was distributed by the national government. And the national government was responsible for administering funds collected by the councils. This is why you see kwaive executive mayor during that time. Ndo vaita basa iroro. So we look at what is there now. There is still provision whereby all the local governments development plans, my budgets have to be approved by the central state. So if you look today, could my budget, my planning, ne city of Harare, they must be approved by the state. They must be approved. And you need to stop telling people that UK councils dish out houses. They dish out houses. It's not true. There's massive housing. No massive housing shortage in the UK. Definitely. Msanyeperwe anyone. Mu UK amuna housing shortage. Amuna zvachose. Motoene dzimwe dzimba. Ndichazofamba one day. Ndakatombokuitirai one video when I showed you that look, UK government is building houses like nobody's business. And vari kupwanya dzimba. Mune dzimba dzakavharwa dzisina vanhu muno. I'm not sure which place Noma is referring to. Because kuno ku Stockton akuna homeless people in this town where I live. No homeless people here. There are plenty of houses dzisina vanhu. Ukatoenda kucancel nhasi uchida imba vanokupa. They give you a house. So I'm not sure which council my friend is referring to. Because ukaenda kucancel uchida imba vanokupa. They give you a house straight away. So let's look at it. So there is a provision here Harare where the government every budget a council, planning a council, zvese zvinoitwa ne council, UK has got no shortage, haina shortage of houses. Varotopwanya dzimba. Scotland we've got lots of empty houses, definitely. United Kingdom has got no shortage of housing. Kutopwanywa dzimba. I'll show you where one day I'll show you where they've destroyed thousands and thousands of houses which are not occupied. We are on about Zimbabwe. UK is building, preparing for their future generation, but yeah, definitely. I will show you guys where they are destroying houses, and I will show you if they are destroying houses. I will stand there, make a live video, show you how they destroy them. So they've been raising to the ground all houses which are not occupied. Because mamwacha are dilapidated. Adzirudona dzega dzina vanhu. Imba ikashaya vanhu ita dongo. Kana ita dongo dziri kupwanyika dzega. Saka vari kuya vachidhiriza dzese, vachidhiriza vachisa mapark, vachisa macar park. Saka we don't have shortage of houses here. It's very unfortunate. So what they do is there's legislation which is used for local government in Zimbabwe, such as Urban Councils Act 2008, Rural District Councils Act 2002, and the Regional Town and the Council Planning Act of 1998 have a provision whereby powers are bestowed on the minister responsible for local government. If you look at these acts of parliament that I've read here, the Urban Councils Act, the Rural District Councils Act 2002, and the Regional Town and Council Planning Act of 1998. If you read them, their powers, they bestow powers on the minister responsible for local government to fire elected councillors and mayors, despite the fact that the minister is a political appointee. So this question has been answered now. To those people who say, who is responsible in Harare for the mess that we have? The mess that we have in Harare, the Minister of Local Government is responsible. And when the minister is responsible, the government is automatically responsible. Because the minister is not an elected person. He is just a political appointee. If you look at Ignatius Chombo, he was a political appointee. If you look at 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗏𝗃, he was a political appointee as a minister. If you look at July Moyo today, he is a political appointee. But if you look at these acts, they allow them to recall, or they allow them they allow them like to remove or interfere with the functions of council and fire elected councillors. They fire elected mayors. Despite that, these people are just appointees, political appointees, who were never elected to be ministers, but they've got powers to fire elected individuals like mayors and councillors. So someone was asking me, who is responsible now for the road that we see in Harare? The road that we see in Harare is the minister. The minister is responsible for that road. Because if the council is not performing, the minister will fire it. If the council is performing, the minister can use his political muscle, and they interfere with the operations of the council. And Yuda, what is that buffoon defending? He says Zimbabwe roads can be compared with the UK. Sorry, Mkomatemba. UK roads compared with the Zimbabwe roads is something that I've never thought of in a day. And even my other guys, so if you look at it, the answer is provided here. First of all, I showed you a video where Emmerson Mnangagwa was talking about sabotaging MDC councils, and here is evidence that the minister, is someone who is just appointed, is a political appointee. But being a political appointee, there are acts of parliament that give that person power to fire elected individuals, to fire mayors, to fire councillors. As a result, it's like the government of Zimbabwe does not allow MDC councils to flourish. Because when they start flourishing, people would say, I want very bowman. Because they have been since losing these local council elections. So whatever they are doing is they are sabotaging those local councils to make sure that but little known that the people of Zimbabwe knows the root cause of the rot in Harare. They are not the councillors, but it is the government. This is why you see Zimbabweans, they continue to vote MDC councillors, because they know they are not the ones responsible for the rot. And the rot is the minister's responsibility. The sewage that you see flowing in Harare today is the government's responsibility. Is the local government, local minister's responsibility. And those responsibilities are conferred to him by the Urban Councils Act of 2008. They are conferred to him by the Rural District Council Act of 2002. They are conferred to him by the Regional Town and the Council Country Planning Act of 1988. This is why you see 𝗟𝗲𝗀𝗍 has got powers to sign letters to say, go destroy that house, go destroy that house, go destroy that house. So he is the man responsible for that. On top of the local government minister, we've got a metropolitan minister who is also a political appointee who oversees the functions of councils. And in my honor, so the provisions discussed above, they cause local government to be subservient. As you, it's like ED does not want elected MPs and councils. Yes, they don't want them, but they have been losing this. So it makes this acts that I've said here, they give powers to the minister, and it makes the councils subservient to central government, with the local elected representatives afraid of going against the minister responsible for local government. Even the mayor will be afraid. The councillors will be afraid, because they can be fired anytime by this political appointee. And if you see why Marara Sirutakurwa Muharare, 𝗟𝗲𝗀𝗍 does not care, but he cares about the elected people. He doesn't care with Marara Anakutakurwa. He doesn't care the sewage is flowing everywhere. He doesn't care about that. But he's scared. He cares on disabling the functions of the council. So whoever who is now responsible, people should. I've answered that question, that the government is responsible. The minister of local government is the one responsible. This is why you see he has got powers to fire and hire. He can fire and hire councillors. You elect your councillors. This one doesn't want your elected councillors. He can come and say, Jacobo, iwewe iba, takuda ningi ngauye. Saka muna anema powers, iwayo is the only one responsible for collecting mchina, zirimu Harare, for making sure that the sewage does not flow in our cities. And in the morning. So I think you guys now understand this. This shows the willingness of the central government to transfer. This shows the unwillingness. These powers that they have. This is why you see our government is very unwilling to transfer central state power, to transfer that real power to autonomy or decentralized institutions. This is why you see they don't want decentralized institutions. This is why you see they don't want to transfer autonomy to seat of Harare. Because with these powers, he can do anything that he wants. He can make you drink sewage. So Zanu PF is making you guys drink sewage. Zanu PF is making you guys walk in sewage. Zanu PF is making the whole of Harare stinks. And because the garbage is not being collected. And these are the responsibilities of a local government minister, not the responsibilities of a councillor. Because those councillors, they've got no powers. The ministers just dismiss them at will. So you know now who is responsible. You know now who is responsible. And so it has to be stated that decentralizing in Zimbabwe, it was introduced at a time when the ruling party, Zanu PF, enjoyed a period of political dominance. At one time, around 80s, 90s, Zanu PF enjoyed political dominance in all cities. And during that time, Nopawena executive mayor. But when they started losing it, then they removed the mayoral powers, the executive powers. The approach was like achakwanisi kutonga munomu. Andimanzo washitaura nyaya dzekutonga. Kuti kusatonga kwatakuita munomu zvakonzerwa neMDC. Saka ngatibvisei executive mayor. And because executive mayor by then ave nemapowers ekusi town planning, ekuona budget ravo, ekuona zvese achisaina zvichitoitwa ipapo. Ndipo maiona mameya ainzi ana Solomon. Ani Solomon ani mudhara uya anga ane mutsipa unenge wembwa. Mwana wake akazoya akaitawo meya futi. Vainzi vana mbavha vaya. Vana mbavha vekuHarare vaya. Andimona. So during the first 19 years of independence in Zimbabwe, kubva 1980, ai Solomon anuya, once upon a time Harare was clean. It was definitely clean. Zanu PF never experienced any significant. If you look at the first 19 or 20 years of Zimbabwe rule, Zanu PF on its own, especially Harare Meme, it never experienced any significant opposition politically for the first 20 years or 19 years. During the first decade, the party tried to push the country towards one-party state. Solomon Tavengwa, thank you so much. During this period, the ruling party, Zanu PF, and the state became indistinguishable. So, if you look at first 10 years, one-party state munomu. The next 10 years, one-party state. Saka ipapo waibva waona kuti vanhu nanhasi tine problem nevarakashi or varashika. We need a way forward, Mgoma. Way forward, ndakataura wakomana. President Chamisa vakaisa 𝗟𝗟𝗃, Citizenship for Convergence. So we support that. Solomon Charles Tavengwa, vaibaba nemwana, I think. Vesangwani mazisoro akadaiso nekuba mari dzesiti of Harare. Saka urikuona kuti first decade yekutonga kweZanu PF or first 2 decades, vanga vasina opposition politically. Vaita madiro vanhu vaiva. You, for example, do you think Zimondo was a competent prison commander? Never in a day. Because Zimondo haana zvaaiziva. Anditi maona. Saka vakanga vasina political opposition vanhu. Ndosaka vaita madiro avaita vachida one party state. So at the end, you cannot distinguish between Zanu PF or a state. So as a result, Zanu PF thinks they are Zimbabwe. Panomo mnakatoya kanonyorera kuti Yuda, Zanu PF ndo Zimbabwe. So they cannot distinguish kuti Zanu PF is a political party. Government is a government for Zimbabwe. When it is a government, it must accommodate every Zimbabwean. But Zanu PF does not look at it like that. They think even though Zimbabwe. So you cannot distinguish Zanu PF and the state. This is what the problem that we are having today. Today, we have got a problem where Varakashi, they think Zanu PF is the state. As a result, they allow Zanu PF to interfere in council functions. Ukaenda unana Mbare, unoona chipangano yeZanu PF, not government. Vachigovera mastand. Kuti iwe unofana kuvaka pano, iwe unofana kuvaka apo, iwe unofana kuvaka apo. Ukanzwa vari kuti land barons today, vanhu vaigovera land estate, vachienda vachitaura kuti ini ndonzi chiyangwa, land yese panapa ndeyangu, vachitengesera vanhu mastands which are being destroyed today. Saka, we've got a problem where Zanu PF do not understand that they are not the state. Zanu PF is as good as MDC. These are political parties, but a state is the government. So they can't distinguish the two. We've got a chaos in Zimbabwe. We've got sewage flowing everywhere. But Zanu PF, no government. No one going to go here stand. No one going to visa on the Vapa no Garaba, Vapa no Garab. Vachenda Kuchilongo, Vapa no Garaba, Vapa no Garab. Saka Zawit one is Zanu PF, which is not the state. So if Zanu PF learn to distinguish the state and the political party, I think Harare will come back to its sunshine status. And in Manzo. So we need those changes to be initiated in our country, in Zimbabwe. If you look at Zanu PF in local government, when they look at local government, Zanu PF think they are the local government as well. The opposition MDC managed to win the majority, despite that MDC won the majority of major urban cities. I gotta say Harare, I know in one MDC, that will never change. What our MDC will never lose Harare. MDC will never lose Guero. MDC will never lose Bulawayo. MDC will never lose Mashingo. MDC will never lose Chegutu and Mtare. These are major cities in our country, which have been won by MDC time and again. And for this Zanu PF to try and interfere and destroy all these cities, it makes Zimbabwe a rural area. They have tried to reduce Harare through mismanagement. They are influencing non-service delivery in all these cities. You have heard 𝗥𝗲𝗀𝗪𝗏, we will initiate non-service delivery to these cities because zvichemo zvamakanso awo hakuna kwazvinoenda. Andini manzo. So the capture of these cities by the opposition set the councillors on a collision course. If you look at how MDC have been winning these cities, so the kuwina kwavarita ma-cities iwayo kwakuita vave ne-collusion ne-government. They are on a collusion course with the minister responsible for local government. Ndosaka rikona minister achiti MDC kana kuti itenge motikari dzekutakura marara, anomhanya kuti wo musatakure, hatina mari yacho. MDC kanse kati ngatenge mapaipi tigadzire sewage iri kurasika toisa ma-new pipes, anina July moyo hatina mari. MDC Alliance ikati handei kuota Jeffries kwafa pipe pombi, vanhu vari kumwa sewage, tigadzire titenge mushonga, tigadzire mvura, July moyo omhanya kuti no hakuna mari. Brother Yuda, hanzi vaenda here ana bhangu ukumoza. No guys, nhasi ngatibotaura iyi amo timbopinda nei. I try to clarify situation so that Zimbabweans understand that the road that they see in Harare, it's not MDC, but the road is the government itself. The government is stopping MDC councils. One, they are firing MDC councils. They are firing MDC mayors. That decisions cannot be taken. And two, when MDC council want to buy pipes to try and rectify the issues of sewage and water, Zanu PF government na July moyo vari kuti hatina mari. Mari sedzinenge dzichitakurwa dzichitorwa kuma-rates and rents and so forth. MaZanu PF mazhinji makambani zavo, they don't pay that. So vanhu vakachibvunza kuti who is responsible for the mess we have in Harare? This created a situation whereby the minister responsible for administering local government legislation was from the opposition party in the local government realm. So if you look at the situation we have, Harare, Zanu PF is the opposition party in Harare. And the minister of local government is coming from that opposition party in Zanu PF Harare. So he will sabotage. And if you add a bigger picture, that is same minister nationally is coming from a ruling party. But when he goes to Harare, he is the opposition minister in there, who will never allow any city to flourish. All the roads cannot be repaired as long as 𝗟𝗏𝗋 is the minister achibva kuZanu PF. So it is important to note that the ruling party Zanu PF, they say they never lost or they did not lose. Someone is calling. People really know I start live on Facebook around 12, around 8 o'clock. People still call. When I'm free, don't receive a call. Sorry guys, I'm not going to answer you at the moment. So what we are saying is, it is very important for Zimbabweans to note that Zanu PF rigs election, then it claims it has won the national elections. So when they say we are the government, this creates a situation whereby the minister responsible for administering local government legislation is from the opposition. But Zanu PF itself, it becomes the opposition. Do you people even listen to the news in Zimbabwe? Every day is on the news. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen, that in government realm, the local government minister is opposition in Harare, but when it goes nationally, he's like in the ruling party. Zanu PF becomes a ruling party in the national government realm. It is important to note that within the intricate relationship that Zanu PF and MDC relationship was, if you look at it anyway, it's like there's hatred between the two parties, to the extent that Zanu PF always uses violence against the MDC. So there is a well-documented history of acts of political violence against the MDC. And even in Harare, waiona chipangano chinzi yaenda yarova vanhu kwakati, yaenda pambare yatora yabvisa vanhu vemusika, yakuvaita relocate ichirova vanhu pambare. That is the violence that we are saying. Such a scenario, it motivates misdevelopment or less development. It is motivated by such acts of violence that is perpetrated by Zanu PF on the people of Zimbabwe. And so the people of Zimbabwe are the ones who at the end suffer from the misgovernance of this Zanu PF thing. Ndofunga vanhu vari kupabata ipapo. Muri kupabata guys. Amen. Hanzi Shepherd, do you want, amen? Hanzi, do you want to be the president of Zimbabwe in future? I don't want to be president of Zimbabwe in future. We have got a president already chosen by God. We have got President Nelson Chamisa. He's my president. I don't want to be president of Zimbabwe. I don't want to be president of Zimbabwe. I think I've answered you, Mkomong. We have got President Chamisa already there. So I don't want to be president of Zimbabwe. But what I just want to see is decentralization, not dismantling of our councils. The central state or our government is dismantling the cities, is dismantling the councils, is dismantling everything, instead of decentralizing, giving powers to these cities to try and have a beautiful seat. You know that if you have got a beautiful seat, kana wakwira ndege ukaenda kune dzimwe nyika unotaura nyika yedu is far much better. Now if you go ku Zambia ukatasa Lusaka unongoti Lusaka yapamberi. Imagine Lusaka is now far ahead of Zimbabwe. You understand? So what we need on the aspects of development, Zimbabwe government, Zimbabwe or Harare has been lagging behind other cities in SADC, in Southern Africa. ukaenda kuna Namibia vana Windhoek, they are beautiful cities, beautiful cities. Ukaenda kuna Gaborone, they are beautiful cities. Uchikopinda muHarare utovhara muromo, madhodhi throughout. Famba wakadai muHarare, ukaona vakavhara, usafunge kuti vakavhara usafunge kuti vakavhara COVID, aiwa vari kuvhara matuzvi, ari kuyerera, ari kunhuhwa muHarare. Handi muri kuona. So political decentralization ndo yatiri kutaura, not dismantling, but we need decentralization of powers, which involves transfer of political authority from the central government to the local government. For us to see kuti Zimbabwe ichaita nyika yakanaka here, Harare ichaita nyika, ichaita nzvimbo capital city inoyevedza here. We want to see the authority or the central government transferring the authority to the local government. This can be in the form of policy making. We want the city council to be able to do their policy, to make their policies, and they have to have this independence of decision making. So the problem is all the decisions that the council can make, they need to be approved. They need to be approved by the president. They need to be approved by the minister of local government. So even no matter what policy they make, no matter what decision they make, they cannot implement it without it being approved by the minister, without it being approved by the government, by the president. So that means everything that we see in Harare, the rotting, the flowing of sewage that we see in Harare, the shit that we drink as water in Harare, it has been approved by the president. And it has been approved by the minister. This is why you see they don't take action. Because they've approved that the Hararians must drink sewage. People in Harare must walk or float in sewage. They don't care. They've approved that. It's a decision that has been made by the government. It's a decision that has been made by the authority of Zimbabwe to say, let Harare flow in sewage. Let these people drink sewage. This is why Leo Jones here is saying, I miss Ian Smith. During Ian Smith, there was nothing like that. There was totally nothing like that. So this is what you see. And Ngoma Rodrigue, for sure, the Minister of Local is diverting city council funds to Zanu PF. Exactly. So he is the one approving the pumping of sewage into the water. They are the ones approving the drinking of sewage, the failure to collect garbage in Central Harare. It is approved by the president. It is approved by the minister. But he is given those powers. This is why you see, akaona kuti meya uya 𝗏DC akuda kutakura marara, anobva interfere, obva amudzinga. Akaona nemakanselas aripo vada kugadzirisa nyaya dzemvura nemasewage, anobva apinda July moyo naMnangagwa, obva vadzinga makanselas aya. Kuparliament Monzora anenge achimhanya akabatawo demo achiti asvika vanhu veMDC Alliance muno, asvika vanhu veMDC Alliance muno, vari vanhu vakavhoterwa nevanhu. So it can be successful if there is redistribution of adequate political power from the central government to the local government. Harare will be successful. Murukunzwa. Harare will be successful. This distribution of power or kupama simba ku council kuti ayo itai ma policies enyu, isai ma decision making enyu, gadzirai road mega, and gadzirai moto Jeffrey waterworks, isai ma pipe emvura. So zvakaita ku Harare kudhara. Bana Solomon Tavengwa, bana they had those powers. No one vaitenga ma pipes, vachitenga vachigadzira city of Harare ichifunctiona. But Zanu PF payakanga tanga ngoruza ma elections ema cities, vakabva vabvisa executive powers. Vakati let them be ceremonial. They cannot make a decision. They cannot even make policies. So at the end, you have seen where Harare is today. It's because of Zanu PF government. You have seen where Harare is today. It's because of the president of Zimbabwe. The current president of Zimbabwe. There is a video that I've shown you at the beginning of this presentation where he was telling you that hakuna kwazvinoenda zvinhu zvesito for Harare. Tinozvigweja isusu hatina basa nazvo. because kana zvichienda kuharvest house okay, because vanoziva kuti kuharvest house kwacho hakuna minister ane mapowers ari kwari iye president naminister of local government. Handiti maona zviri kunzwika here vakomana? Tisazonzwa vanhu vanochema kuti hoi mune MDC yenyu, hoi mune masweji yenyu, itai kuti hoi mune Zanu PF yenyu, hoi mune Monzora wenyu, hoi mune masweji ari kuyerera muHarare. Komishina Mudzuri ndo vakaita izvi. And Mudzuri, before he came to politics, he was the engineer of Harare. He once became the mayor of Harare. Most of the road that you see today, zvakaitwa nguva yaMudzuri, ari mayor of Harare. Handiti maona? Amene kuti munhu iye munozomutrasta kuti aite president sei? Handiti muri kunzwa kumana? So there is general agreement among the scholars, among Zimbabweans now, that all the road we see, it is from Emmerson Mnangagwa's government, because it failed on its administrative decentralization. They failed to transfer the responsibilities of planning, management, raising and allocation of resources from the central government to the council. So administrative decentralization through Zanu PF government has failed. They could not give or transfer the responsibilities that makes the council function, which are like planning, management, raising and allocation of resources from the council coffers. So administrative decentralization is one of the decentralization that July Moyo and his government, or Emmerson Mnangagwa and his government, refused to let go. Central government refused to let go administrative decentralization. The other decentralization is like fiscal. They should let the council assign financial powers to its elements or to its employees. And the government cannot do that. They cannot allow council to have these fiscal powers, financial powers, to make their own budget, to look for grants, to raise my taxes or the likes of their seat. They can't allow the councils to do that. So as a result, the council's financial power is like constricted. Quite a lot. If you look at even about devolution, the authority or this local government, it refused to give autonomy to the council. The council does not have autonomy. It cannot run its affairs on its own without president's interference or government interference or July Moyo's interference. So the council does not have autonomy. When the council lacks autonomy, it lacks the delegation power. They cannot delegate anything to anyone without the approval of July Moyo. So if you see like all my public corporations and my parastatals as a government, they operate in the same manner, that the minister is the ultimate decision maker of them. So there are no delegation powers. The council cannot do anything without the minister and without the president. So there are quite a lot. Privatization. Council land, they can't do it without the approval of July Moyo. So they can't do any projects. The council can't do any projects. July Moyo has to approve that. This is why why can't we put Harare City Council under the Zanu PF board? So the massive cars, the 𝗟𝗃𝗃 bosses drive, 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃 Harare City Council, right? What do they do, Norma? Varim City Council. Those are Zanu PF people who work for the City Council. And the Ganawashida Motkari Zozo July Moyo is simply approving them. Is simply approving them. But the one is a budget for Motkari Zakat. July Moyo sign out all right in their moting. And July Moyo Yake Motkari Pap. So they drive those cars because July Moyo approves that. Ndosakuona kana parliament yedu approves that. Despite that we don't have zvipatara, hatina mishonga, hatina chi muZimbabwe, hatina education, but they buy expensive cars. So the council and councillors, these are two different things. I always tell people. People don't know how to differentiate that a council, it is an institution with its management. It's an institution with its own workers. But councillors are just elected for 5 years. They are not permanent employees of the council. Ndosaka July mwe achita zvavanoda navo. So they can, even if they say we need to approve this budget, vakanyora budget yavo, 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗍 katinoda motikari ikapinda budget, vakaisa government, July mwe anokanzura zvinoitwa nema-councillors, izvatidi, chasara apo motikari dzinai munotenga. Saka an institution with its own employees and management, they will simply go buy those cars. Mbare floods are neglected. Mambare floods aitombofunga kuti mnanga kwakaenda kwakati ndikupusa ndokuvakirai. So almost 3 years ago. Up to now, nothing has been done. And on. So what we are saying is the local government, Wana July Moyo, they must decentralize the powers, give council powers to make, give my councillors powers to make my policies of the council. And the human waste for urban agriculture. Pakaipa. And in Mona. Saka, this is what we see in Zimbabwe, guys. It's not only Harare, but most African countries, they are going through the same. Because chavarikuita chinonzi Marxist policies vavarikuita izvozvo. Ukaenda unana Uganda is the same. Waitukapinda Malawi it was the same. Before vavaka Blantyre. Waitukapinda muZambia nguva yaKenneth Kaunda it was the same. muZambia maive open sewage ichierera zvirikuitika muHarare, but zvakapera izvozviya. Kana unana Kamwala vakuisa kana tara vakuita sei kuZambia. Zvazvisiko munguva yaKaunda. Andiri muona. Iwaya moti revolutionary parties iwaya, be very careful now. Hakuna yakambogadzira nyika. Hakuna. Kaunda failed. Kamusibanda failed. Andimona. Harare failed. So, I think I've answered most questions here that the people were asking in regard to our seat council. Saka ndo zviri kuZimbabwe government varume. Zvamuri kuona kumachapati echivanhu chitema. Kuti tirikutadza kurana our affairs because of interference by the government. And the council has got a duty to ensure that the terms of appointed or conditions of employment of certain members of its staff, including my chief executive, my deputies, and the officers named my statutory instruments, our council must approve that. This also my councillors, I think. And there are other legal obligations of the council which must be allowed, and the councils must be scrutinized on their functions. Zimbabwe iende mberi. That's true. Zimbabweans, they never voted for this government. And saka government iripo irikungozvikanda zvayo, which is interfering with the local authority. So interference as Zanu PF government on the local authority, it has put public safety on danger. Service delivery is not prospering anyone. Nothing is being happened. So there is no public order in Harare. There is no public safety in Harare. Council Harare city and its properties Harare, they are dilapidated. they're all damaged. Asiri ma properties ekuti kana muno mu UK unoenda uchiona kuti iyi motikari yekanzuru ichi, they're all dilapidated. There is disruption of life of the people of Harare. So this government is presiding over disruption of life of the people of Harare, to the extent that there is no public safety. Wana wachifane typhoid, wana wachifane cholera mu Harare. That means there is no public safety. Ukaona noise inoitika mwe wanachiru wane motikari wind and everywhere. There is no public order in our country. So Zimbabwe has Harare has degenerated. Instead of Harare could eat a capital seat where people would be proud of. Ukabvunzwa nevanhu kuti unobva kupi, vafana vanotarashi ndevere unzaita ndobva kuJoburg, vana Yuda tikabvunzwa ndobva kuBlantyre. Andoona kuti munhu utaura kuti unobva kuHarare wakutonyara because matorist anoenda ikoko vandounzwira tsitsi. Andinoona ma local authorities edu isusu, they must recognize the fundamental rights contained muma conventions amunosaina imimi. The people of Harare, they've got their rights as well, but those rights are not being respected by the government. July Moore is not respecting the rights of Zimbabweans, particularly the right to vote. This is why you see vachidzinga vanhu. As I come from Kwekwe, hapana munhu arikutomboti ndobva muHarare, hakuna. Hakuna munhu arikutomboti anobva muHarare, because the local authority it's failing to act, not because they've got no capacity, but because of interference from the presidium and the local government minister. Andimona vana July mwe vanhu kuti dai vachifamba vachitemwa nemazai muHarare. Andimurikuona. Saka taita problem yenyika yedu kuti local authority yedu is not functioning. So it means every department that is under government is not functioning, because local authority is a department that is under the local government, which is the government of Zimbabwe, and it's not functioning. That reflects the status quo of a country. If you want to see the status quo of a country, go to Harare, just drive around Harare. There is no public order in that country. Drive a motikari yakanaka muHarare is a risky. Tofana kutenga ukaenda kana wakuenda kuHarare tenga 323. Kana kutenga tuma pausa that sandoyado. Ndoka motikari kaungatofamba nako ukaenda kuHarare drive a Range Rover unoswera wakweshwa ukaitarisa unochema hey, how much did I buy this car? A seat with a few traffic lights on roads, some are not even functioning. Katakana msuno pachitsikwa mwana pa traffic lights. As I come from Amtali, once a beautiful, the most beautiful city mu Zimbabwe. Anditi mona. Saka zvakawanda varume, any person now anobva kana kuHarare ukada kumubvunza kuti unobva kupi unozakutaura ndobva kuLusaka, mazimbo anzi ndobva kuLusaka. Anditi mona. Saka tine zvinhu zvakawanda that the council is not being led to do. Zvakawanda wakomana. Toitei hanzi toitei nazvo. What's the way forward? Vanhu vazhinji vari kubvunza way forward. Our way forward must be lawful. And we must have a fair way of dealing with the Zanu PF. It must be a lawful way of dealing with the Zanu PF. And that lawful way is like what I've preached time and again. Make sure iwewe nemzukuru wako, nemwana wasisi wako, vanani vako vese, they are all registered to vote. Because most of these youngsters in Harare, they are not voting. Pakanzi rally vanoenda vari in millions. But pakanzi kunovota kunoenda vanhu 100. So they are doing a disservice to themselves. We know that election is not run in a transparent manner in our country. But if we say every Zimbabwean go and vote. No matter how much Zanu PF might want to rig it, vanorira nema figures. Andimona. So we must deal with the Zanu PF lawfully, fairly, to show them that we are angry as Zimbabweans. And how many times Zanu PF ichiriga? Every time it rigs, but we are giving it opportunities to rig. We create opportunities for Zanu PF to rig. Zimbabweans, we do. The last election, Vanamonzora, Vaisa, my double candidates. Not one person from MDC challenged them. They registered double candidates. And that was another way Zanu PF rigged elections. Most constituencies which were supposed to have been taken by MDC, they went to Zanu PF. Because Magaregera Monzora, Ishama double na Komich, no one was responsible to sign my candidates, Ishama double candidates. Candidate choose ones, you can't give to Konjana, Vaita. Imimishta naru mjensa wana Konjana, Kunduano voter was on MDC. You understand? So some of the things, let's blame ourselves. Ukatasa kwa kaenda bed niko bebe. Constituents kwa anga unanankayu. Ukatasa how many votes Zanu PF got and how many votes two MDC candidates got. You tell that we are our own enemies. Although we try to blame Zanu PF for stealing this election, stealing that election, the majority of parliamentarians would be MDC parliamentarians. You understand? So we shoot ourselves on the foot and then blame Zanu PF pamsoro pazo. We failed, Zimbabweans. Kuisa election monitors. Kune dzimwe nzvimbo. Taimirira chamisa kuti chamisa chaendesa monitors. We failed. Ndosaka mwana ndakataura ndikati ngatiite citizenship for convergence pressure group where we are going to put our monies aside. Pazvinhu zvakaita saizvozvo zvokuti kana MDC kataura kuti taremerwa tichakwanisa kuisa ma-election agents uku tinoendesa isusu tichivabhadhara. Election agent kuZimbabwe kwamuti tokupa 30 pounds a day. You are going there for 3 days. Tokupa chikafu, tokupa transport, tokupa everything. Per day tokupa $30 or $40 a day. Paanobuda pa 3 days anenge ana $120, which is 2 months salary of a soldier. Tinoendesa vanhu vakawanda, we cover the whole country. It's a citizens convergence pressure group. But Zimbabweans, they don't want the program to start. So we blame ourselves. Don't blame Zanu PF. How many times Zanu PF was rigging? And why did we agree to let that happen for my elections? Because we said MDC is a political party that is not sponsored by anyone. It's a political party that is sponsored by the people of Zimbabwe. Imimi ndimuri win election. Asa amusikuendesa munhu ikoko. Amusikuendesa munhu kunoona kuti chii chiri kuitika. Zanu PF yega mpulling booth. Vachita madiro ari kuvhotesa muZanu. Ari kachivhota acho kana vari MDC vanosvika kunzi muri weZanu. Hanzi boycotting won't work. It won't work. Boycotting elections, it won't work. MDC is not the only political party in Zimbabwe. So if you boycott elections, you are doing yourself a disservice. Because I say election here 2 parties. The election here my parties are involved in Zimbabwe. Mnenge makupa vanamonzora a way yekuti vanhu vazoti monzora atowina apo. Monzora awina. Because you have boycotted the election. And remember, you have boycotted the election. You can't boycott an election. But make sure you have got sufficient funds to unearth whatever is happening. And remember, it isn't kind of on a one-man band. One-man band operation. This expose election rigging. This is not a pusher. Why can't we put such dedication? I have to expose it. As let's talk about it's not about food, guys. If we start talking about armed struggle against Zimbabwe government now, that struggle will take years. to end. And with the resistance pockets in Zanu PF that we will continue to fight. It does not bring peace. Andimona. It does not bring peace to the region. Zikatanga kurira futi mZimbabwe, expect zisatora kana kuti more 10 years to come. Zichirira on daily basis. People dying, properties being destroyed. Zimbabwe is already a country in a war zone. Akusina building iri kumira, ari kuondomoka ega mZimbabwe. That's what are you going to do? Go slow in it up a few elections, polling stations. 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗍, I think pavanhu vese vataura nhasi munataura zvandaona ndiri 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗍. I've witnessed that. Kuti ukaenda pama-elections pese Zanu mtown, vanhu vese mtown havapesere vavhota, havavhoti vanhu vese vari mtown. Vanhu vanobva vatoti takusiyana nazvo. Panenge pane go slow yekuti ukasvikapo unochema. Unoita 8 hours uri paqueue kuno isa exchange. Saka zvekutaura naMukomaweli ngatidai kuti kana kuti kwama-elections ngatisabudei takaita kunoita zikuri area ayo. If possible ngatingopananai mukana kuti toti textiranai ndakunovhota, ndakumhanya unovhota, ndakumhanya unovhota. So kuti musaite mazikiu, because mukaita mazikiu ayaya Zanu PF inomira. Vanhu vanenge plus what they do, vanononoka kuvhura ma-polling stations ematown. Polling station emtown inozovhurwa kuma-1. Kumusha vanenge vavhura polling station na-6 kuseni. Ande muri kuona. Kumusha hakuna vanhu. Vanhu vese vari kumusha they take time to vote. kuHarare vakavhura na-1. Hamuchakwanisi kuvhota mese vamwe vanhu vanoora moya vazovhota vanoenda kumba. This is a point yekutaura naMukomaweli. This point has been used by Zanu PF to frustrate urban voters. As vote for me, I will change Zimbabwe. Fear is our best. Tinochka, no chokwadi. Sekuru Dhlakama, Magadi, andini maona. Victor Dhlakama, Magadi, kule. Nelson Chitorira, zirikufamba. So this is what we should do, ladies and gentlemen. There is no administration of justice in our country. The exercise of a function with the council amuna mukadautarisa powers which are supposed to be conferred to our councils akuna. Hanzi Yuda wani munhu anomira pachokwadi thank you kule zviri kufambaka Betha Mugadza zviri kudini mwana wamai hanzi madii ndo nyaya tiri kutaura pano. Saka ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes to 10. I'm not going to take a lot of your time today. Timbonzwa, if you have got any other questions, guys, so that I can answer your questions. And so the council, if you look at our councils, these are legal corporate bodies that have got responsibilities, they've got roles and duties to play in our country, especially Harare City Council. And the council, it has got a duty. What as a council, Harare City Council, council iyo kwete councillors, council. Appointa iyo council chairman wayo, ina chairman wayo, ine ma clerk ayo are responsible for finance. Vanda zvakasiyana, internal auditors awo vanawo council. And vanoita convene ma meetings our annual meetings vachita ma council meeting in addition to at least 1 further 3 wanda ma meetings akawanda each year. Let's make sure that these people are running the council efficiently as the employees of the council. And they convene different meetings. Vachama request our vachirana council yavo. But why is the rubbish not collected in Zimbabwe, in Harare? Why is the sewage flowing in Harare when we've got a council, when we've got a local government minister, when we've got a president who resides in that country? And we don't tell them, Mkoma Kiri, Truauza, Mkoma Max really say, and the so the council has got a duty to consider all relevant matters brought before it by the councillors. But these councillors, they are the ones who represent the people. They bring all sorts of matters to them. To say, council, takurai marara. Council, you don't think about takura marara. inotaura kuti July moyo hatina mari. Council itai zvakati July moyo hatina mari. Munanga gwandaura kuti zvabva kupi kukansel yeHarare vanovhotera MDC councillors hatina mari. So I've answered that. And I think MDC Alliance must train as before in the diaspora military wise and look for guns to fight. No, KV. No to that. No. We cannot encourage. Murwana zvita kuMozambique wakomana. Imbotarisai decapitated bodies. Dziri kubuda paMozambique, mavideos ari kubuda paMozambique. Tikada shuwira izvozvo zvipinde muZimbabwe. Tinenge tichade nyika yedu naye. Chigumba angati winisa here hama angati winisa baba flow Chigumba haana mapowers ekuti kana vanhu vavhota haana mapowers. The problem is people are not voting. Hapana nzvimbo muHarare muZimbabwe ine vanhu vanopfura vanhu vari muHarare. Half of the population yeZimbabwe is in Harare. Believe me. Mukada kunyatsovhota chaiko vanhu vari Harare kuvhota. Harare chete inowa Zanu PF. Harare chete inowa Zanu PF. Unoziva kuti muHarare mune vanhu vangani? Harare ine vanhu more than 8 million. Harare chete vanhu vari muHarare they are more than 8 million. Itai statistics dzenyu nhasi mundiudza imi. Vanhu vari muHarare chete they are more than 8 million. So it means half of the Harare Zimbabwe population is in Harare. Vanhu vari muHarare mukavhota mese imimi zvatiri kutaura panapa. Montaura kuti anomira idhunga mira rina Harare. Harare chete asitaura na Bulawayo wanani. We are talking of Harare. So we're adding more polling stations work. Yes, I think it will work. Vanhu vari muHarare chete. Half of the population of Zimbabwe are in Harare. So if Harare ikasimuka kuti akunovhota yese kuti jam. Zanu PF inorwa neHarare chete. So we have got potential to defeat Zanu PF in Harare only. Only Harare. Ndosaona delimitation iri kuitwa zvinezvi. They are trying to make less constituencies in Harare, but it doesn't help them. They are trying to create more constituencies kumaruwa kusina vanhu. Andidi maona. So that is the issue, ladies and gentlemen. That is the issue. Yekuti Harare kana mafunga kubvisa Zanu, Harare yega inobvisa Zanu. Harare chete. Believe me, Harare ndakazviona inini. Zvamaza zvitaurwa kunzi Zanu PF inoenda go slow kana vakuvhotesa vanhu vemuHarare. Harare chete inobvisa Zanu. Those zvitaurwa naNoma izvi kuti registration and voting is very important. Vanhu vari muHarare vakukanzi kune rari vanoenda vese. Handei kunoregister nekuvhota havaende. Ndozvitaurwa naNoma izvi. Handini maona. But if you guys ukaona Zanu PF kwairi kuenda kumaruwa havasi kunomobilize vanhu kuti uyai kumaRare. Vari kunomobilize vanhu kuti handei munoregister kuvhota. Make sure kuti hama yako iwewe nani yaregister kuvhota. Especially vari muHarare. Ndikatarisa pamba pedu kwaHighfields. Kana kuHarare pamba pedu kwaikuFiyo. Ndakatarisa kuti pane maroja mangana aripo. Ndotarisa vafana vangu inini vaning'ina vangu varipo kuFiyo. Kumba kwedu. Unotoona kuti ndikati Hillary nemukadzi wake. Ndikati Mparasani nemukadzi wake. Ndobarati mhomzo wangu varipo ipapo na mainini wangu varipo ipapo na baba mnini varipo. So far pane vanhu 4 vakuru vanovhota pamba pedu. Toziva malodgers varipo. Ndikada kuverenga marooms aripo kuti uchipinda pagedhi dining ndeyedu nebedroom yamudhara. Ukabva apo poenda kwairara wakomana we just use 3 rooms. Ukaenda ku left side kune 3-4 mabedrooms ari uko. Ese ane mukadzi nemurume imomo. Saka unoona pamba pedu chete kuenda kuFiyo. Pamba pedu chete you find kuti 4 times 2 8 plus 8 vangu pane 16 vanhu varipo pamba pedu. Those 16 people can vote for MDC. And until the rotten tooth is extracted, they should learn to chew. The rest must adjust. And then we're gonna tutasa one house. Pamba pedu pa fio pa. Pano 16 wari. 6 maloja 4 times 2 8. Cause I'm ningna no ningna 2 aripo. Na ilara aripo ndina sana aripo. Vese wafana wakarora wana wakadzi wao. Cause I'm moms na mdara. Kanisa moms na mdara baba mnini wangu na mai nini wangu. Varipo. Sapane 16 people per one house. Ukatasa fio ine zimbangani times 16 people. Andini mona. Saka panenge pa kudache to encourage these people to go register to vote, that which is important. Andini mona. Saka guys, I think for today, this is 10:06. We are not going to go beyond this today. I think I've spoken a lot about that, the allocation of powers, which is crucial for the government, so that the local state can or structures, sana councils can work vasina disturbances. I've looked into the order to achieve political power. Local government must achieve political powers. If we don't, we will still float in sewage. And if you look at the local state needs, local state needs of Harare are not being guaranteed by the government. And I've answered, could not even central delivery service. It's not centered on the council. It is the core duty of a government. Both that council is under government. Failure for the council to deliver those services, to collect rubbish, to make sure no sewage flows in Harare, that is the duty of a government. Both local government, council really under local government. Under local government, an appointee, a minister aripo, and saka ndonya kuti whoever is responsible, or if people didn't know who is responsible, the government is responsible, the president is responsible. Ndofunga wanu vanzwa, and I've answered that question. So ladies and gentlemen, any question before I go? I've got a lot to do. I've got schoolwork to do. Panere, any question before we go? Any question, guys? Today is too short. I've got lots of things to do. Man, nendrim class. Any question? Tatarisa kuti chaitika pa colonial era. Tikatasa chaitika Harare during colonial era and Harare after colonial era. Tikatasa kuti Smith aikuti upinde muna First Street. Vanu muchita nharo muda kupinda muna First Street. Pamuri kupinda kwacho muna First Street muri kutenge apana. Vari kutenga ndanani madhara emari. So in order to understand how things are happening mu Harare, I've given you a framework, an overview of everything. Tikatasa the issue of decentralization. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight, good night. True brother, if we can overcome that disease of fear, we will make it. Tunofana kumura bachi rekutya kuti tigare muZimbabwe zvakanaka. Any other question? Those hapane vanhu vanga vachi Harare, seat of Harare. Any other question? Any other question, guys, you have before I go? Any other question from Zimbabweans? Apana. So, guys, you are happy? No questions. Thanks, guys. So, enjoy your day. Good night. Night, night.